So making this workout up as I go, and it's probably gonna be the same workout you're gonna see me do for a few weeks. I'll never start with a seated leg curl, so I'm gonna change it up and we'll start that. We gotta edit all this out. This is horrible. So this will be a short-term goal, and I don't really know what the long-term goal is yet, other than just maintenance to the short-term goal. I'm guessing I'll check the scale in the morning because I haven't been on the scale in, oh fuck, I don't know, 3 months, 4 months. And considering my dietary habits is not really the greatest, I'm probably in the 240s, but not like the good 240s like I'd like to be. So I'm gonna start cardio tomorrow morning, right after leg day. It's lovely, right? Try to get between 215 and 220. Actually, I want to put a number on it. I just want to be like 3 to 4 week out contest shape, and I think I've been able to do that 3 or 4 times since I stopped competing, and it's easy for me to maintain, but I always get derailed with something. Like, you know, it's always something, outside distraction, and then when I fall off, I just fall off. Like, I still look like I train, I just don't train. So hopefully I stay with it this time. And actually, I think that's a horrible thing to tell people, that I fall off, because that's not very motivating, right? Like, I train 6 months and take 6 months off. That's bullshit. Don't do that. Don't do what I do. So yeah, have a little bit of an end goal that you guys will see, and it's not competing. Don't ask. It's not competing. It's not getting on the stage. It's not guest posing. It's nothing to do with bodybuilding. But I do have a goal to get myself into bodybuilding shape for a reason. And I've got, what, about 9 weeks or so? I think I can do it in 5 to 6. But we'll see. I'm not going to rush it, and I'm not going to, if I fail, if I'm not in the shape I want to be in at that time, that's fine too. It'll still be a work in progress, because I really haven't tried to diet in a while. So see how this goes. Yeah, let's go get legs. So we just got here, and I haven't actually trained legs at all in a few months, I don't think. But this gym has new equipment in it, so I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do. I think we'll kind of scope it out. So this first workout, I am kind of winging things, but I do want to get into a routine where I am consistently doing the same exercises pretty much week to week, but unless I'm traveling or on the road going somewhere. But yeah, let's see what we got here. Shit, you guys are going to be barking at me because I'm drinking a Diet Pepsi during my workout. Get over it. Caffeine never hurt anybody. So this seated leg curl I know you guys are watching this, but just to kind of point a few things out that I'm doing is, if you guys see the stack, I'm not using a lot of weight. Not that at least I haven't trained legs in a while, that could be why as well. But I'm taking my feet and I'm pointing my toes out like I'm flexing my calves. But I personally feel when I do that during this movement, I feel a lot more engagement directly down the center of my hamstring. And then when I do other hamstring movements, I kind of change my foot positioning to try to target that whole area a little differently. I'm going to show them on the next movement that I really don't know what the hell that's called, so I actually write on my phone as well, my own logs, the John Jewett leg curl. He's the first person I ever saw do it, so I'll give him credit to it. But yeah. So you guys see me doing a lot of extra sets here. These are not filler sets. I don't like that term. I mean, a filler set has a time and a place. That's not what I'm doing. So like when I'm warming up on something, I do what's called acclimation sets. And I learned that going back to my roots in bodybuilding when I learned how to train using the Max OT training program. I think that was, I don't even remember the name of the supplement company that put that out now, because I was like 22 or 23 years ago at this point. But yeah, I tend to go up in weight and down in reps until I get to my first working set. So if you see me do 2, 3, 4 reps, it's not a filler set. I'm trying to prime my muscle tissue, my joints, my tendons, ligaments, everything for what's about to come next. Like 2 to 4 weeks, because this looks like nothing. This is a plate and a quarter. It's maybe the weakest I've ever been on legs my entire life. It's kind of embarrassing, but that's why we're doing it. But yeah, I think in 2 to 4 weeks, I'll be able to stack a few 45s on there, but for right now, this is most people's warm-up weight. So I'm doing these kind of an old school way, mostly because in this case I have a lack of equipment at my disposal right now. It would not be the exercise of choice, but we're gonna make it work. This is kind of like an old school sissy squat, and you'll see I'm only doing 3 or 4 reps. It's because it's all I got. But even some of the strongest people are not gonna be doing that many reps on these, because I specifically stand all the way up as high as I can on my tippy toes, and I let my knees go out way past my feet most of the time I'll try to touch my knees at the floor. That's the type of depth that I'm getting. And if you keep your body upright and you keep all the tension in your quads, it's gonna be a hell of a lot harder to do than you think it is, just from watching the video. So if you guys wanna try that out, I would recommend trying it probably not as a beginning exercise. Get warmed up, try a little earlier, because it's gonna be harder than you think with just your body weight. That's it. First workout by LiQWYD. So this workout and some of the other ones you guys are going to see me do, I have to be a little bit more selective on the equipment I use, exercise selection, how I do it. Mostly just because at this point in my life, the juice is really not worth the squeeze when it comes to higher risk movements. Like, I have no intentions on competing anymore. Sorry guys. But, you know, doing stuff like super heavy deadlifts, super heavy squats, yes, those exercises are absolutely amazing for building muscle, but they obviously come with a risk factor. And at this point in my life, I really want to eliminate that risk factor as much as possible. So certain movements, like, you know, I did RDLs today on the Smith machine, and you probably won't see me go too much heavier than that now or in the future, just simply because this is kind of something to think about when we start seeing guys, you know, as they age and they start falling apart and having issues. And, you know, as much as I hate to pick on him, and I'm not picking on him, I'm just unfortunately have to use him as an example. But, you know, when you look at Ronnie, he's got all the spinal problems, and Ronnie was the exception to the rule. He moved more weight than anyone else could even think about doing, and that's probably why he's got the problems. Not to mention he had a herniated disc while moving that kind of weight. Not smart, but, you know, hey, he doesn't regret it, so that's a different topic for a different day. But I try to stay away at this point in my life, stay away from movements that's going to create a lot of spinal compression. Yes, the RDLs will do it, but I try to limit it. So you're not seeing me do like RDLs, deadlifts, squats, front squats, you know, like I'm trying to limit that as much as I can. There's no way to avoid it, and you need to have a strong lower back, but I'm not trying to kill myself on that. So there's certain movements that I will go heavy on, and others I'm going to kind of refrain on. Still try to get the job done with time under tension, try to make the exercise as hard as I can while, you know, limiting my risk of injury in doing so. So this is my first time using the leg equipment in this gym, and it feels a little awkward to me, but at the same time, all equipment has pretty much felt awkward to me my whole life, except the very first gym I ever set foot in, because I've trained in that gym consistently for around 5 years and no other gyms, just that one. So I got used to all the equipment in there, and to me, that was my normal. It was a lot of old stuff, you know. It was probably built by like 1990, and I mean, I started training there in 2002, so obviously it wasn't newer than that. But a lot of that old equipment, in my opinion, as far as the angles, the tension, and also the longevity of the equipment, you know, it lasts longer, it holds up, it feels better. As long as you do basic maintenance as far as keeping all the moving parts greased and just take care of it, that's really the best equipment in the world, in my opinion. Like, the new stuff that's out there, it looks cool, it may feel cool for a little while, but give it 6 months of, like, if you actually have real athletes that come in and they're putting weight on it, moving heavy weight on it, I just don't see a lot of it holding up. And I'm not going to specifically pick on any companies out there, but I saw multiple pieces in the gym today that had out of order signs on it. So, you know, what does that tell you? But yeah, a lot of it just doesn't feel the same to me, mostly because I'm so used to selective pieces. You know, you train that way for 5 years, everything else just don't feel the same anymore. So you do have to kind of adapt and overcome with that. And it was something I struggled with, like, when I competed, because I was constantly on the road a lot. So I was never in the same gym consistently. I was never able to do like the same workouts and just get better within those workouts. I'd have maybe 3 days a week that I could, so I would prioritize like certain training, you know, like chest, back, and legs was usually the ones that I kept consistent at home. And then when I'm on the road, it was always arms and shoulders because those are more dominant body parts, and I didn't really have to. I don't want to say I don't want to put as much emphasis in them because mentally I'm hitting them just as hard as anything else, but I wasn't as consistent with the equipment and consistent with the weight on those just because I couldn't be. You know, when you have seminars, guest posings, and all that stuff, you're out of town, you got to travel, you got to make money. You know, it's not, bodybuilding's not the NFL where you're getting paid millions of dollars. If you want to make money in this sport, you're going to actually have to go out and hustle and make it happen. It's not going to just come to you. So that's what I did, you know, and I was successful in doing so. But unfortunately, it takes a little improvising with your training at the same time. So one thing I want to talk to you guys about is how I actually warm up. And anyone who wants to follow my training, you can use this, but also it's good for my clients too to actually see what I'm talking about rather than just reading it on paper. So the way that I've always trained, I'm going to say 99% of my life, unless I'm specifically doing something different, like the vast majority of my training will come from the principles of max OT, which is, it's heavy weights, progressive overload style, but forget all that. I'm mostly just talking about the warm-ups here because people like to use the word filler sets, and I kind of talked about it a little bit during my workout, and I realized like I got to keep my intensity moving, so I don't have time to sit here and, you know, babble on about this, but I do now, so kind of explain that. So like for example, if I'm doing like a hammer strength with shoulder or chest, but just for example here, I may do one set with one plate for like 15, and then do 2 plates for 8, 3 plates for 4, and then I'll do 4 plates for 8 to 10. You know, I don't like to pre-exhaust the muscle with all the extra warm-ups. I'm just simply trying to get blood flow to it, warm the tendons up, ligaments up, and prime my body for what's about to happen next. I see a lot of guys go in and they'll do sets of 10 or 12 with all those weights, and then by the time they get to the heavyweight, they're only getting 3, 4, 5 reps, 6 reps, because they're already exhausted before they get there. So that's not my style. You know, I want to be able to, again, safety is important. That's my #1 priority, staying injury-free, considering I have had a few injuries now. But trying to stay as injury-free as possible and still getting the job done with the most weight that I could possibly use. And I feel like that worked really well for me throughout my career, so why would I change it now? Alright guys, so since I'm going to do this, I'm going to go all in and do it the right way. And most of y'all know I used to eat a lot of fish when I competed, so I like it, and I'm going to go back to that, except I'm not buying it from the store. And if y'all been following me for the past 7 or 8 years, I've gotten into offshore fishing a lot, and I usually only eat what I catch. So we're going to fillet these up today. Some of these are for the dogs, and some of these are for me. Moderate size amberjack. Hopefully we don't have any worms in this. All you guys like to eat cod? It's full of worms, by the way. Kind of hoping this one does have a few worms just to show the camera. My knife is dull as hell too. Don't worry guys, my hands are clean. I washed them last week. Man, this knife sucks. Oh shit, he did get taxed a little bit by a shark. Got a mark on him. There was a shark chased him up. It clipped him a little bit. Break this with my hand. Kind of dull my knife worse than it already is. Oh yeah, we got some worms. Do it. So you guys see this? That's spaghetti worms that fish get. Completely harmless to us. You can literally eat that if you want. I'm not going to, but you could, and it's not going to hurt you. So a lot of the seafood you guys eat has worms in it. They just cut it out before you see it. Now people are going to start hating eating seafood. They're gonna freak out. Bones out. Yes, I just did that. Something will eat it. They'll be happy about it too. Now, depending on what I'm going to do with this, whether I'm going to eat this myself or feed this, I'm going to smoke it and potentially give it to my dogs. They got to eat good too, right? I would usually get rid of this bloodline, but I'm going to hold out on that for right now. It's more work that I may not need to do. If I'm going to get it all in one bag or not. And basically every fish you guys buy from the store gets processed very, very similar to this. You just don't see that part of it. If y'all want to find out, you can YouTube commercial fishing and you'll see this firsthand. They'll have a little bit neater platforms. That's about it. And better knives.